Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of RadiantCentral.com, and I'm your host Natasha St. Michael, and thank you so much for joining me. So I'm 27 weeks pregnant. I am due in exactly 3 months, October 1st, and we are super excited. Time is flying by and it's great. It's very, very exciting. So today I thought I'd do a video talking about my pregnancy and answering some of the questions I've received regarding what my pregnancy diet is like. Have I changed things up? How am I keeping healthy? And also to address some of the questions that I received from other pregnant women asking about cravings or how to get themselves back on track because they find themselves eating a lot of junk food as opposed to eating healthy, things like that. So regarding my own diet and what I'm eating, a lot of people have asked me if I'm on a raw vegan diet, and the answer is no. I haven't been on a raw vegan diet for 2.5 years now. For everyone that's been following my videos over the years, everyone pretty much knows this. And if this is the first time you've heard this news, then definitely go and watch all the earlier videos on RadiantCentral.com, or go to my old website, rawradianthealth.com, and watch the last maybe 20 or 30 videos there, because all those videos go through what I went through 2.5 years ago with the B12 deficiency and all sorts of stuff, and why I changed my diet and what I'm doing. So does that mean I'm not eating raw foods? Of course not. I'm definitely eating raw foods. I eat fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, seaweeds, things like that, but not exclusively. I also eat cooked foods. I eat cooked whole grains. I eat cooked beans and legumes, cooked vegetables. I also eat meat. I eat fish. I eat seafood, eggs, cheese, plain yogurt, things like that. I eat a very, very clean whole food diet. I stay away from processed food, junk food, refined food, all that. Like, I like to eat fresh. I like to eat clean, real food, and I cook a lot, obviously, because of that. And I do believe in eating as much local food as possible too. Foods that locally are grown where I'm living. And right now that is in Bali, Indonesia. So, so that's my diet. I stay away from junk food and all of that. And I feel great. And I've pretty much been continuing that with my pregnancy. I would say my main priority has been to just get as much variety in as possible. And I've always even done that even before I got pregnant, is that I've always been quite mindful as to what I'm eating and not to be eating the same foods all the time. So, but with the pregnancy, I've definitely been trying to eat as much variety in different foods so that I do get a good variety of nutrition and sort of cover my basis pretty much. And that's been working out quite well, and I would have to say my diet hasn't changed all that much. I can say that I've had a lot of food aversions that sort of dictate a lot of what I don't feel like eating these days, or that I have to cook things differently or prepare my food differently. Before I was pregnant, I liked having like spicy food, and now I can't. And I've had a lot of morning sickness, so I've had to have really like bland food and maybe change to how I've been eating. Previously, before I was pregnant, I would be one of these people that like to have 2 or 3 really big meals a day. I didn't really snack so much in between meals, and I'd have big hearty meals. And since I've been pregnant and dealing with just a lot of nausea and morning sickness, it's been much better on my body and my system to be eating smaller meals and more frequently. So I eat more like every hour, every 2 hours, and smaller mini meals. But the one thing I have to say that I really appreciate is eating healthy before I got pregnant, and having years and years and years of eating super healthy and knowing how to prepare foods and knowing how to prepare simple, easy, fast meals. This has been like gold to me. I have to really say that this is something I really appreciated right from the beginning, because I've had morning sickness, like literally vomiting all the time for my entire pregnancy so far. It's not only been just the first trimester. The first trimester I was throwing up like every day, and now during the second and now the beginning of the third trimester, it's maybe once a week. But I haven't been 100% well throughout the pregnancy. So being able to prepare healthy meals that it's quick to put together, that doesn't involve so much time in the kitchen or so much energy or so much thought or any of that, has been really just so helpful. Because if I didn't know how to cook healthy, and if I didn't know how to make things that were simple and easy, I think I'd be a little bit lost, or reaching for processed food or fast food or things that are just junky and gross. So I have to say, like, anyone that's really that's planning to get pregnant or trying to conceive right now or thinking about it in the future, get on to really learning how to cook and how to make super healthy food, and learning a lot of recipes so that you do have a variety, you do have a lot of things to go by. And also because too is that for a lot of women, when they get pregnant, is that certain foods that they once loved, they might not really like so much while they're pregnant. So you have to learn too to be a little bit more flexible, and if you have a good sort of resource to draw upon and different things to try out, then it does become easier and less overwhelming, and you just feel more confident, and it's like one less thing to have to worry about. So that's definitely been a plus for me, and I have to say in general that I haven't had so many cravings. I've been very lucky that way, and perhaps too it's because we don't have a TV, so I don't see ads for food all the time. You know, I could just imagine someone sitting in front of television all the time, seeing one commercial after another, all these beautiful, so-called tasty food that, of course, that would sort of trigger a craving. Because I know if someone mentions a food, I'll be like, ooh, I haven't had that in a long time, and I start thinking about it. So I would say we're definitely lucky and fortunate not to have a TV, not having to see that. Plus, also, I do a lot of shopping, mostly at the local pasar, which is a traditional market, kind of like a farmer's market. So all I'm pretty much seeing is fruits and vegetables and fresh foods and local foods, and even the grocery stores here don't really carry so much processed food. They have a little bit, but it's not even appetizing when you see it. And it's a few aisles as opposed to what is in the United States or in Canada, where it's a huge supermarket just full of junk. So those things have definitely helped, is kind of avoiding any kind of temptation. But I have to say, if someone were to ask me what are my like 3 favorite sort of pregnancy foods, or 3 foods that I've been really craving throughout my pregnancy, I'd have to say nuts and seeds has been like number 1. I've eaten more nuts and seeds than I have in my entire life, and they have to be plain, raw, unsalted, just really plain nuts and seeds, and I eat tons of them every single day. And that to me has been interesting, because I used to have, before I got pregnant, I used to have a big sweet tooth, and always sort of, I guess at the end of a meal, I'd like to have fruit or something sweet. And since I've been pregnant, at the end of every meal, I always need to have like a handful of nuts and seeds. And so that's been my number 1 craving. My number 2 would be red or purple grapes, the ones with seeds in them. It's my favorite. And perhaps too, being in a tropical environment, having something that's juicy, like, big purple grape, it's like, I don't know, it's my pregnancy craving. And then my 3rd one is fish. And I never was a big fish eater or seafood eater, but since I've been pregnant, that's one thing I crave, and we'd have it, I'd say, about twice a week on average. So I haven't really had much junk food cravings, which has been good. And for those that do have cravings, how to deal with that. One thing that I do say with cravings is to watch the cravings, to identify them. This is really important. I think a lot of times people want to push them away, and instead, I really would say is to look into what that craving might actually mean. Okay, so it doesn't, you might have a craving, it doesn't mean you need to be eating that food that you're craving, or that you have a deficiency in having candy, or a deficiency in having burgers or something. But there's something in that food that you might actually need, and that's something to think about. So I've received like an email from someone that is a vegan while they're pregnant and they're craving meat all the time. That could possibly mean that they need more protein in their diet, or they need more iron in their diet, more minerals in their diet, more essential fatty acids in their diet. It's not something like, why do I crave this? And it's out of the blue, and it might actually be that there's something that you're not getting enough of, the nutrient or something, so it's important to identify what are those foods that I am craving, and to look at your current diet to see, are you receiving a good source of these foods? And if it's a really strong craving and it's something that's very different than what you're used to, I'd even consult your doctor or midwife, because if If, let's say, you are on a restrictive diet, it could be too restrictive, or they might actually have suggestions for you as to what foods to really include and add more into your diet in order to cover all your nutritional needs. So other cravings people can have, let's say they crave a lot of dairy products. That might mean that they're needing more calcium or more healthy fats in their diet, more essential fatty acids, omega-3s, things like that. If someone is craving a lot of high-fat food, fried food, things like that too, they might also need more healthier fats in their diet, that their diet might be too low-fat, and that's why they want French fries all the time. Someone that is craving candy all the time, that might mean that they need more vitamins, more vitamin C, or more antioxidants. They might need more fruits in their diet. So it's not so much that you're craving candy and you need to be eating candy, but you might be needing something else that's way more healthier and that can give you the nutrition that your body's desiring and needs, and it might not mean that you have like a deficiency in something, but you might not be getting enough of something, and that's why your body's telling you, I need this, this, and that. Now, for people that have been eating healthy before they got pregnant, and suddenly they get pregnant and all they eat is junk food and they don't even know what happened to themselves. This happens a lot. It doesn't happen to everyone, but for some women it's like suddenly they get pregnant and all the foods that they once loved they cannot eat, and they're tired, they're going through nausea and morning sickness, and the only thing that's working for them is eating crackers and ice cream and French fries. What do? Well, my suggestion would be not to give up. Okay, there's no reason why you cannot start eating healthy now. And a lot of times people have sort of a view of like all or nothing. It's kind of like, either I'm going to eat healthy or I'm going to eat all junk. But it's a matter of finding that middle. And what I suggest is, the first thing is not to make a meal out of junk food. It's kind of like, don't worry too much about your cravings and what you're indulging in, but just don't make a meal out of it. Because that's when problems start coming in, and that's when people start looking back at their days and their weeks being like, okay, I haven't had anything with nutrition in it, it's just been all junk. And so what I suggest is instead to be eating something healthy, and then at the end have your treat. So if you're craving a lot of sugary foods like desserts and cookies and cakes and ice cream, things like that, make sure to have a healthy meal with some vegetables and a healthy protein and some whole grains. And then at the end of the meal, if you have room in your stomach, which you might not have, or it might be a little bit of room, then to indulge in that treat. Therefore, it doesn't become a whole meal. You're not eating half the cake. You're just eating maybe a small bite or two, because that's all you can fit in. And you know that you've gotten some healthy food in. This is a way of balancing it out so that you're not depriving yourself too much, but you're also ensuring that you're getting some healthy food in. I also suggest too is getting into making these healthy things at home. There's a huge difference between going to a fast food restaurant or making those so-called fast food items at home. Big difference, like going to Taco Bell and getting nachos and tacos and all that stuff there, or making Mexican food at home. Huge difference, huge, and you can make something that's super healthy and delicious and way better for you and your baby. So that's something to think about too, is how can I make it healthier? How can I make it at home using good quality, good ingredients, avoiding trans fats, avoiding hydrogenated oils, avoiding the high fructose corn syrup, avoiding chemicals and additives and preservatives and processed flour and processed sugar and all that stuff, just avoiding it. How can you make good food that is full of nutritious, wholesome ingredients? Big difference. And then you don't have to feel so deprived. You're still enjoying your food, but you know that you're also really, you're doing your body good. So these are just a few tips for those that want to get healthy again. And also too, if it makes you feel any better, I know for myself, before I got pregnant, when my husband and I were trying to conceive, I envisioned my pregnancy to be super amazing, and I'd have so much energy to do so much, and I'd be working out every day, and I had all these plans for my pregnancy. And when I got pregnant, I got sick, I was exhausted, I was throwing up every day. And a lot of the foods that I loved that were super healthy, I had aversions to. I mean, if I had a green smoothie, it'd make me projectile vomit everywhere. And it was rough at points and discouraging because I wanted it to be one way and it was another way. But one thing that I learned was to be flexible. You know, there was a long stretch of time that I couldn't go to the gym or I couldn't work out. But instead, I would try and find other ways of getting some movement and some exercise in. So me and my husband, we get up really early in the morning, we go for a walk on the beach. Or I try and do some gardening, some light movement, light work, light housework, you know, just something to get me going, even if I couldn't work out. And same thing with having food aversions or foods that were making me sick that were healthy foods. This happened to me a lot where green smoothies made me sick, cooked vegetables made me sick. But that didn't mean that all healthy foods were making me sick. And I learned that even though I couldn't have cooked vegetables, I could still eat 2 salads a day, no problem. I could eat as much raw vegetables as possible, no problem. It never affected me feeling nauseous or vomiting. But if I had the cooked vegetables, it wasn't so good. And it was the same thing with smoothies. It wasn't good, but if I had a green juice, it was fine. So it's a matter of trying different things out and not being so hard on yourself. You know, if one thing doesn't work, try another thing. Keep going. And just keep reminding yourself is that there's never a moment to stop trying. It's just about moving forward and never being hard on yourself and feeling good about what you're doing that is right and that is good. All right, so, and I guess the last question I received too is, am I still hosting the Juice Fast every month or the 7-Day Raw Food Challenge and coaching and all that? Yes, still doing it. So this month, the next 10-Day Juice Fast is next Tuesday, July 9th, and the next 7-Day Raw Food Challenge is Monday, July 22nd. So if you are interested, go to my website at radiantcentral.com and you can sign up there. All right, so I'm wishing you guys a fabulous day. And on my blog, I'll put some photos of my pregnant stomach. All right, so go to my website at radiantcentral.com/blog and you can see some photos there. All right, have a fabulous day, everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.